Alright, what's going on, guys? My name is Antonio, and this is the AAS. I'm your host, Antonio. Today, I wanted to talk about the Ravens and the 49ers, individually as individual teams. Both sides are resting their starters in each of their regular season finales. The Ravens are resting their players up today against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Meanwhile, the 49ers will rest their players against the Rams. But the question is, that a lot of people have had on their mind, including me. Who would this be a bigger hit or miss for if they can't win a Super Bowl, if they can't do it this year? The 49ers or the Ravens? So, I wanted to go over this because I heard them talking about this on First Take, and I wanted to give my personal opinion on this topic. So, as you can see, I am a Seahawks fan. You can see the 12 on the shirt. But I have massive respect for both the Niners and the Ravens. Both those sides beat us, so I have respect for them. So, anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you please make sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe if you're new, turn on the notification bell. For now, let's get started into the topic. So, some people are saying the Ravens because of their of the loaded AFC. But I'm actually going to say the 49ers would be a bigger miss for this team because of these reasons. Number one, you got loads of NFC teams on the rise. And we don't know what's going to happen with the Niners next year. Number two is they've been in this situation before. Kyle Shanahan's been in this situation 2 times. And the Niners have been in this situation 2 times, where they've gone to the Super Bowl and lost. If we look back to 2013, their Super Bowl against the Ravens. They were being blown out, the power outage happened, and then the Ravens still won that game, despite the efforts of the NFL trying to get the Niners to win. And then, not a lot of people know this, but Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons when they went to the Super Bowl, a part of that 28-3 comeback by Tom Brady and the Patriots, which obviously went well for New England. And then just recently, 5 years ago, there was the Super Bowl between the Kansas City Chiefs and the 49ers. If we look at each of the seasons afterwards, they have not done so well after coming back from a Super Bowl win. Super Bowl loss. Because normally runner-ups of a Super Bowl, from what I have noticed, have not done so good the following year. Now, of course, these last few years have been different, with the Cincinnati Bengals coming on a hot streak trying to get to the Super Bowl the last previous year. And then also along with the Eagles doing well until they eventually slanted. But if we look at the NFC from a real perspective, you got loads of teams on the rise. You got the Rams, who are always going to put up a fight with you. You got the Seahawks, my team that, sure, you might have swept for the last 2 years, but they're building something. I don't know what they're building, but they're building something. The Cardinals, we don't know a whole lot about. We know they're going to have a down few years. And then you got the Lions that are looking really good. They won their division for the first time in a few years. The Bears, who are maybe going to knock off the Packers. Who knows? Maybe they might. And then also along with the Packers themselves, because the Packers are always tough with or without Aaron Rodgers. And then the Cowboys, which a lot of people doubt, including me. The Eagles, who have looked really good for the last few years. The Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield, who is actually looking pretty decent. And then the Saints, who have Derek Carr. I just listed 9 teams. 9 teams that are on the rise in the NFC. Now, with the NFC, we all know that it's the weakest conference in the NFL. And whoever goes to the Super Bowl of that time normally gets beat. But except for the Rams, who were the only NFC team in the last few years to win the Super Bowl. But My point to the Niners faithful is this. I want them to go to the Super Bowl and win. As a Seahawks fan, I want their drought to end. But think about it. If you lose the Super Bowl after being talked about Purdy and Christian McCaffrey being in the MVP conversation, when you have a defense right now that has Bosa, Chase Young, Armstead, Hargrave, those guys may not be there next year. I mean, Bosa, sure, but Chase Young, he's only a short-term solution because you can't pay him and Bosa at the same time. You can't pay both of them at the same time. And then their wide receiver core. I mean, you got Brandon Ayuk, you got Deebo Samuel, you got George Kittle, you got loads, and even Gerard Jennings, who lots of people underestimate, who he is really good, especially when he was with Tennessee, back when he was in college. I've seen his highlights. But this is my point to the 49ers faithful that might disagree with me. If you lose this, the last time y'all lost the Super Bowl was 5 years ago against the Chiefs. What happened that following year? Injuries, a not so great record, and then you also had loads of key injuries. You didn't know what was going on. I mean, sure, John Lynch knows what to do when come draft time, but we don't know. We honestly do not know. Because you could say that this is a bigger game bigger must-win situation for the Ravens because it's the loaded AFC. But I'm saying it's the 49ers because in the NFC West, it's always a battle. I mean, take the last decade, for example. The Seahawks used to dominate the division for the majority-wise of the years. I mean, they made the playoffs 9 of the last 10 times. Of the last 10 seasons, anyway. But my point is, the Rams are always going to put up a fight. And I mean, you sure have a record against them in the regular season, but that streak is going to be broken eventually. Who knows when that's going to be broken? And then you got the Seahawks, who are building something right now that I am personally really liking. Because if we look at the Seahawks, they're basically like the Niners as far as weapons go. You got JSN, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett. A receiver group that lots of people underestimate because of their playmaking abilities. And then you also got Kenneth Walker and also Zach Charbonnet. I mean, sure, they aren't Deebo Samuel or Christian McCaffrey, but they're coming into their own. And I said at the, I wasn't a YouTuber back at this time, but when I saw Kenneth Walker get drafted, I knew he was going to be a superstar. And what's happened the last few years with him? He's been so good. I honestly thought that he should have won the Offensive Rookie of the Year award last year. But who knows with this world. But anyways, back to what I'm saying. The Seahawks have a defense that, sure, they aren't good right now. It's the coordinator that needs to go, in my personal opinion, for both offense and defense. But the Niners, back to the Niners. You got a Chase Young that will be in free agency starting next year. The Seahawks basically won that trade at the end of the deadline because they have a guy that can be there for long term. Meanwhile, the Niners, you can't pay Bosa big money and Chase Young big money at the same time because Chase Young is looking for that big supermax contract. So my point is, I'm going to say this one last time. The Niners need to get to the Super Bowl and win. They need to. If they don't, who knows what's going to happen in the next few years? Who knows? But anyways, that's my topic for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe if you're new, turn on the notification bell, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. So long for now.